buddy Edo here, and the good folks at Blue Orange Games sent me along a copy of Photosynthesis Under the Moonlight, and in fact, they actually hired me to do a how to play during Gen Con online. They didn't pay me for this review. This is my honest review, but I did want to let you know that. But, so, if you haven't played Photosynthesis, skip this video. This expansion is for photosynthesis players, experts. You have to love this game to step into this. This is a complex, meaty, I don't want to say it wrong, it's not meaty. It's just an additive expansion. It's really for people who know, will really like, and want more depth from photosynthesis. It doesn't make the game less deep. It doesn't streamline it. This is the gamer expansion to this game. Now, it's really well done, and I will explain that, but just like, I'm not going to explain how to play photosynthesis. If you don't know how to play, skip this video. Go watch my review of photosynthesis from 4 years ago. This is for those who have been waiting for 5 years for an expansion. Okay? So, in this expansion, it's basically about Moonlight and night creatures, and what you are going to do. It actually has 3 modules. It's got the Great Tree, which is this gigantic thing. It's got these Moonstones, and then the creatures. Now, the only one you could sort of use without the expansion is the Great Tree, so I'll explain that quickly. The last player in turn order gets to put it on the board, and wherever you put it, that space is now locked for the entirety of the game, including, it could be the middle. And then when the light goes through, for those who know that light streams across, it blocks everything behind it. It's this just gigantic tree changing the dynamic of the table. So you can use it without the rest of the expansion or with it, but that's how this tree works. Okay. So let's talk about the moons. This is where this complexity comes in. So the moons get started on the stage. You have your main moon, which has a full moon and a half moon. And then you have the small red moon. This red moon doesn't really matter. This just acts as an indicator to players where your moon's going to go. And the moon is moving counterclockwise, so in the opposite direction of the sun. And when it crosses the sun, this indicator tells you that it's going to be a half moon, and then it flips to a half moon. So there's this like extra complicated moon movement. Now, once you've done it a few times, it's fine, no big deal. But for sure, it adds some complexity to it. And then in addition, the way the moon works is it shoots its rays sort of in 2 directions. You could imagine perhaps it's reflecting the sun, and so moonlight would stream this way and moonlight would stream that way. Again, that red moon doesn't do anything, it just means the next time it's going to be over there. Full moons give 2 moonlight points when it strikes an animal, which I'll talk about. Half moons 1. Only difference between full moon and half moon is 2 moonlight points versus 1 moonlight point. Okay. So, that's that. Now, the trees are not impacted by moonlight, though the gigantic tree is. And I will double check. let me just double check. The gigantic tree stops moonlight, but none of the others do. Why? I just want to not say that wrong. Yes. Yes. Cast shadows for moon. Okay, good. Anyway, so that's how this thing works. I'll just explain the Moonstones for a second. These can be added. You don't have to use them. But basically what they do is when the moonlight hits them, they're placed like the moon tree. Last player, at the start of the game, they put them out based on the number of players. And if moonlight hits this, it illuminates the area around it. So essentially, it just amps up the expansion. So, hey, new player, never played this before. First, maybe try this just in your base game. Second, play without the Moonstones. And 3, play with the Moonstones. So, let's talk about these animals. So, at the start of the game, each player is going to be dealt 2 cards. There are 8. Plays up to 4 players. You'll only see the max of 4 per game, so there's a lot of variety. They're all very different. And everyone gets to choose between 2 animals. And once you do, you deal out the cards. I look at the 2 I have. Somebody's got to teach you the way they work. And, unfortunately, there's 1 rule book and no reference cards, and these aren't clear. So, big dig for me is like, I don't know why they made these double-sided and missed the opportunity to use the other side to explain how these things work, instead of everyone just taught like like perhaps localization, but still, like having to look through and explain every time. And unfortunately, again, there's no universal rule here. If you don't learn your character and how it works, like, you can't start. So this does involve a bunch of teaching. But anyway, everyone picks an animal, they get their card, they get a little moon for their moon tracker, and they get a really great meeple. The quality of these components is great. Now, so, start of the game, everyone's gonna take their dudes and put them on the 3 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, in a 4-player game. Whoever you're using, the rest go in the box. And on your turn, in addition to your normal stuff, you can move your animal spot. And you also, when they get struck by moonlight, you get the moonlight points based on full moon or half moon. And you get to do all sorts of interesting abilities that cost moonlight. Now, they're great. The thought and play that have gone into each of the animals is really smart. It's really different. It adds a lot of range. Some of it is super take that. Amazingly take that. Others not so much. But from a game designery perspective, awesome. Came up with tons of interesting ways to make photosynthesis a much deeper and interesting and sort of challenging game. You just need to want that. You need to want to have played photosynthesis. Like, for a lot of players, this is an abstract strategy game that's like at the cusp of complexity. With the board, with the bank, all those elements, putting the trees out, but because of the thematics and the theme, a lot of players can get past it and you have this beautiful board. This is really hitting on the iron of the players who are like, I really want more to do. I want more interesting gameplay. And it nails it. It nails it. Fantastic. Honestly. Just, you gotta want that, or it's gonna be like, I don't know. This just seems like it makes it a whole lot more complicated. To give you a preview, there's a whole bunch of creatures. You're gonna be building up power or moonlight, and then you can spend it. You get to certain ability thresholds. There's this weird thing where animals have named abilities, and if you're using the same ability, like the owl has, what's the ability called? The owl's ability is called, where is he? Come on, owl. There he is. Nighttime hunting. He has nighttime hunting level 1, level 2, level 3. So on your turn, you may use one of those once, right? But if you have an animal like the hedgehog, which has running as an ability and planting as an ability, you can use both. So some abilities level up and you can only use it once, others you have to use both. The owl, just as a quick example, is just a conversion tool. As you gain light, as you gain moonlight, you can convert it to sunlight. That's all he does, and he moves around collecting. This is a good starter one, right? So, easy peasy. You then have, actually, I'm going to do this really quick, because I think it'll give, okay, not the beaver will go in a little bit. Beaver's complicated. Squirrel. Squirrel's great. He has Squirrel's a passive ability that lets him walk an extra spot. But basically what the squirrel will do is eat other players' seeds. So, super take that. Oh, you just planted that? He's going to eat it. I'm going to chase it down. This is an aggressive one that moves really quick. Let's bring up the fox. The fox, in contrast to the squirrel, can scare another animal near it away. Can also scratch the soil and move seeds, as well as steal lunar points from other animals. So he's like the anti-animal animal. This isn't the hedgehog, this is the badger. So what the badger can do is grow seeds into small trees. So even if you're doing all your normal stuff, he can grow things for you. This is separate from your normal moves. His lower ability is growing it from, you have to have the tree available outside of your, off your board in your bank space or in your available space, from your bank into your available space. But his higher level, more expensive ability just lets you take one from your bank and put it in. That's a big deal. Warthog, holy moly, Warthog lets you use his ability to harvest the tree. That's a big deal. His upgraded ability lets you harvest a tree and immediately place a seed on the spot. Like, again, that doesn't sound like a big deal for non-photosynthesis players, but if you imagine now, that's like virtually impossible in the main game because of the way spots are closed out. I could have a tree in the 4 spot, harvest it with him, put a seed there, right? Maybe the squirrel will steal it, but that's how that works. The Hedgehog's another good starter one. You can spend a point and he can move an extra space, and then he can also plant seeds for you. So this is the seed planter, another good starter one. The last two are more complex. The beaver allows you to place this dam. This has these rules around where on the board along the river you can place it. It's all in the instructions, but basically you place it, anything on it instantly grows, and then you can use his ability to grow it further. So he's like growth in a weird area, and you can move this dam around. And then the turtle, this is the speed version, but the turtle, you start with all of these baby turtles on this side of the board. They're on the circles, and I think it's longer this way. I might have gotten this off by 1. But basically, you can spend money to hatch a turtle, and each one of these has its own unique ability, which you then can spend a lunar point to use, which are things like, gain 3 victory points, take 2 actions, get more light. Like, basically a hodgepodge of all the abilities you could want or need across the board. It's really well done. The balance of the creatures are really interesting. The amount they give you and the amount you use in the game creates a lot of different creature dynamics or animal dynamics that add and make interesting moments in photosynthesis. It really expands the depth and the experience within the game in a fairly easy way once you understand, once you're used to the moon, once you don't have to teach everyone the animal again and again and remind them of the abilities and pass the rules around and around and around. I definitely think it works. Again, when I was doing training, or not the training, how to play, somebody asked we thought that photosynthesis was a little complex. Does this add complexity? Well, it certainly doesn't take complexity away. The moon thing, I think, is more complex than the sun because of the flipping and stuff. The animals is pretty straightforward once you know them, but this is for those folks that want more depth and interesting decisions within photosynthesis. So, if you're that, and you've been waiting for this, pick it up. If you haven't played photosynthesis, great game, awesome abstract strategy with an amazing look to it. Check that out, and watch it play. It has an amazing how to play on that game. But if you play photosynthesis with your family and it maybe lasts so long, or it's at the edge of your kid's age limit in terms of what their complexity they can appreciate, maybe wait on this, or maybe skip this one. So anyway, photosynthesis under the moonlight. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks. Bye.